Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with the one and only Laura Morby. How you doing, Laura?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Awesome. So as we wrapped up episode number one, we started talking about rentals, the lack of rentals, especially in the affordable housing arena, which is where I play. But before we get into that, we've got to talk about the eviction moratorium. The CDC thing has been declared unconstitutional. So I thought I would ask you what you thought of that. What kind of impact, if anything, you will see, and then we will tie these two topics together.
So I mean, obviously we own rental properties and I was able to evict people even during the moratorium. So even though the moratorium existed, it existed for like very specific things, very specific reasons, and for a very specific person who had to do very specific things. Like they had to go try to work out a payment plan with their landlord. They had to, if they were to lose their rental, they were more than likely going to become homeless. They had to reach out for government rental assistance. There were a lot of like safety nets to catch these people before you ended up having to do that. And most people didn't actually meet those requirements.
Okay.
So it's not like we were unable to evict anybody. So it just put something, this might come off wrong. It was a little bit more of an annoyance than anything else, than like a hindrance or like something that
it slowed it down.
Yes, it did slow it down. It slowed down the process for sure. But I am happy because I feel as though that if you are having trouble, there were already things in place that could have helped you out. So I don't feel like I'm like doing my fellow man a disservice by saying I'm glad it's gone, because there are ways people could have had help before they were evicted. And the people that I did evict, I wouldn't say deserved it, but deserved it.
Yeah. I was able to evict, and the several that I got out. And again, California is more restrictive than Arizona. I'll say flat out deserved it. They were gaming the system.
Okay.
Yeah, they were gaming the system.
They deserved it. The ones that I evicted did deserve it. So,
yeah. And again, let's be clear. I don't know about you and in your your kind of base, but I over the last 14 months or whatever this was in force, I don't know what you would call it, declined, credited, forgave, whatever it was, tens of thousands of dollars to people that really needed it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. 100%. Right. That happened a lot with us. Yes. And if someone reached out, the problem is the people that ended up getting evicted were people that just full blown disappeared, that we knew still had a job, that just took this pandemic and they were like, great, well, I'm going to just not pay.
Yeah.
Like I'm done.
I'm done. I'm not cancel rent. I'm never going to pay rent again in my entire life.
Yeah.
I had a couple of tenants that were doing that. I remember one specifically flipping us off and saying, you can't touch me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Well, how's that $20,000 judgment on your credit look now, buddy?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, and the people that did need help, we were 100% there for them.
Absolutely.
And we're able to work out either complete rent forgiveness in a lot of cases, or, and so it's just, I don't know. It's just,
I gave up more rent. I gave up more rent than I considered two tenants stealing from me. Yeah. Which was almost $40,000 combined. And I forgave much more than that as someone that, hopefully my mom would be proud of, right? We did the right things for lots of that.
Right.
But what I want to do here is I want to tie the eviction moratorium being done, the affordable housing conversation, higher taxes next year with what I think is going to be the soup that is made from all of these ingredients right now. You ready for it?
Oh my gosh, I'm so ready.
What we are going to have is we are going to lose 10 to 25% of affordable rental housing. We have a set of landlords, mom and pops, which make up 70 or 80% of all landlords that are just done. They didn't like this. They didn't feel treated well. I've spoken with landlords that had to dip into personal savings, that were, steps away from bankruptcy themselves because of significant losses of rent. Yeah. They are now going to evict their tenants. They are going to clean up the properties and they are going to sell them. And you're an agent. What do you want right now? You want listings, right? Owner Ox. So these things are going to be all cleaned up and pretty. They're going to smell good. They're going to sell them, and owner occupant's going to come in. First time home buyer is going to come in. and they're going to feel great. But guess what we did to the rental market? We just took 10 to 25% of the units off the market, never, never, never to be replaced.
I think that's already happened.
It is.
Already, because it is true. There is, like, I think back, I started my career when everyone was losing their house. Like, I started in 2009. So everyone's like, why are you doing this now? This is the worst time ever. I'm like, or it's the best time because I'm getting the best education. So
well said.
it was not as hard to find a rental back then.
No,
it wasn't. And there wasn't as much competition. There was better homes and they were more affordable. And now what I'm looking at, and we were just saying in the last one, is I just went and looked at in a bad part of town, covered in bugs, hadn't been updated since the 1970s, smelled horrible, and was almost $2,000 a month. And whereas 5 years ago, it would have been $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
And it's just because there's nothing out there. And so it's like, well, that's the best we got. That's literally the only house that has, covered parking. And, and so it's just one of those things where it's like, I also know a lot of people who have already converted, if they're keeping it, they've already converted to Airbnb. It's like, I'm done with traditional rentals.
Yeah.
Airbnb, short-term rentals are way better.
Way easier.
Cash flow way more. It's easier. And I'm just like, okay, this is, you always hear about like, it's not that no good deed goes unpunished, but it's just like people were doing something to help protect tenants. And in a way it ended up backfiring. So
it is going to backfire in a gigantic way. And the beauty is I told people 14 months ago what was going to happen, right? I told them, this is going to feel good for a moment.
It's not
a moment.
Yeah.
And you're going to be screwed for decades.
Yes. Because now it's like, I just like to be a tenant right now. And thank God I'm not, I would be miserable because I would be paying $2,500 to $3,000 a month here in Phoenix for something that's just meh. That's just in a meh part of town. That's barely, the size that I'd want. Doesn't have any of like, and it's just because there is nothing. And I remember I feel like it was about 2 years ago where people are like, affordable housing is like going to be the thing that is going to be the topic of conversation that we're all going to have a hard time with. And you can either choose to make a lot of money by helping be a part of the solution, or you're just going to notice that this is a problem in a couple of years. And I think that was even pre-coronavirus.
It was.
Where people knew it was going to happen. And now
just
it's
exacerbated.
I mean, if Pace all the time is like, I kind of wish that I was like building like apartment buildings because they're at capacity. They've got a waiting list, a mile long. And
have you ever heard of an investor named Sam Zell? Sorry to interrupt. So Sam Zell was huge in the 80s, right? When Robert Allen was doing his no money down thing, Sam Zell, he was called the grave dancer because what he did is he started buying across the country and ultimately became the largest landlord. I think it was called Equity. Anyways, he ended up selling it off and making $1 gazillion. But what he just announced with Toll Brothers, you know who Toll Brothers is, right? They build luxury homes.
Yeah.
This is mind boggling. So Toll Brothers and Sam Zell just announced a partnership, almost $2 billion to build apartments. Think about that. Toll Brothers is building
apartments. It's needed. And it's going to be a cash cow if you can provide it. It really is, right? I don't know. I'm just shocked at how bad it is to be a tenant right now.
It is bad. And it's going to get worse. Again, like I tried to tie this soup together, these ingredients, it is only going to get worse for the next 6 to 9 months. More and more landlords who are pissed off, frustrated, afraid of the government, afraid of taxes, they're going to kick their tenants out. They're going to clean up their property. They're going to come to you, Laura, to sell it.
Yep.
And we will lose 10 to 25% of affordable rentals.
Yep. And it's already bad. It's already bad. You barely touched on taxes in the beginning and you just kind of said it right now, but you're 100% right. There's not just, a bad taste in your mouth because of the eviction moratorium and coronavirus and cancel rent. It's not just that. There's all sorts of things that are happening that are just you're right. It's going to make a soup that's just like, it's bad. It's really bad. So what does this make you want to do personally? Does this make you want to buy more rentals and be a part of the solution? or does this make you like, what do you want to do? Because this makes me want to be a part of the solution.
Yeah. So again, I'm glad you asked. I'm buying as many single family homes that cash flow today
Yeah.
as I can.
Yeah.
I will do seller. I will buy entire portfolios. If somebody wants to come to me in Fresno and say, I want to sell you all 57 of my homes, I'll buy them all.
Where
I'll
you
find
say
a way to get it
they're
done.
like, I'm done. I don't like this anymore.
I'm done.
You'll take them.
Yeah, I'm done. I'll find a way. I'll give you a cash price. I'll give you a seller finance price. I'll go get hard money, private money, non-QM money, whatever you want. I'm going to buy as many as I can. And Laura, this is right in my book. Right now in my market, affordability in Fresno is a 42, right? If you don't know what it is, californiacar.org, it publishes it all the time. 42 is healthy. It's on a scale of 1 to 100.
Yeah.
But let's be clear. I will sell every house when it goes to 20 or 22. So my market is already really expensive, right? 356, I think, is the median. I've done the rough math. If it gets to about 450 or 465, somewhere in there, it'll be unaffordable. And then I will sell just like last time. But as of right now, I'm going to buy every single family home I can, to the point that I'm raising $500,000 from properties that I own free and clear, because I expect to buy homes, right? I'm getting ready.
Yeah, you're ready to buy. If someone came to you today, you're ready to go.
Absolutely. So if you're an agent in Fresno, or you're a wholesaler that calls on
Yeah.
Fresno, Madera, I am chomping at the bit to buy more and more and more and more.
Are you doing anything like, are you cold calling any landlord, like out of state owner landlord list? Are you calling anybody who owns, 2 to 5 properties? Are you targeting
I am
any of
not
these
doing
people?
any of that, but I will buy. I love my life. I do not need extra work. I will gladly pay wholesalers fees to do that. So no, I am not
I'm just
doing
gonna
that.
say, if you're a wholesaler and you're watching this, you may want to pull some like, either out of state owner, landlord lists, maybe some sort of code violation list where you also like where you can list stack to where you know it's a landlord, but you've got some code violations, something like that. And maybe you should start cold calling. And if you get someone who wants to sell, you've got your buyer right here.
I buy all the time.
I'm looking at him.
I'm not doing any work. I'm not cold calling, mailing, any of that stuff. I will gladly.
But that would be a great deal to, that would actually be like, I don't know, if I were a wholesaler and I was listening to this, I'd be freaking on,
I better look at Fresno.
on a list right now. And I'd be sending it to my VA and I'd be like, please call this and send me some warm leads because I'm ready to close some deals. But yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like if you could buy more, I think that's definitely the thing to do. And it's really interesting too, to think about like developers, what kind of conversations they're having. Do you talk to anybody who's like, what's happening behind those closed doors?
So again, I've been talking to developers for almost 2 decades now. And this is my general feeling of developers. They all move there. It's amazing how much of life is just pools of people moving the same direction. Right now, developers, big pockets. I mean, people doing hundreds, if not thousands of units. They're all moving one direction. There's Sam Zell, right? That example I gave you. There are hundreds of them doing the same thing. So Laura, guess what happens in about 3 to 4 years? We have an oversupply of that kind of widget. So guess what Mike Zuber's doing? I'm buying all the houses I can now, because in 3 or 4 years, housing will be unaffordable and I will 1031 into these distressed assets.
Yep.
Just like I did last time. I'm repeating my story. If you don't know what it is, go buy the book. It's in here. We went from 8 houses to 80 units.
Blueprints in there. Yes.
In that book.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing. I think right now the first movers are going to crush it.
Yes.
Then the people that are right behind them, they'll do Then the people behind them will be like, damn, I'm 78% occupied. My numbers don't work. Builders build until they can't. I mean, that's what they know. So that's what I'm thinking is happening.
Very true. Very true. Very interesting though, to see it actually happening.
It's dominoes, right? You just got to watch the dominoes and play it out. So yeah.
Something that's been talked about for years and we're actually seeing it play out in real life. So very interesting.
Very, very cool. So thank you very much. If anybody wants to just feel happier, they should follow you on Instagram. What is that?
It's Laura Morby, no spaces.
And if they want to buy something in 6 or 8 weeks, what should they do? Because you're a little busy right now.
I'm so sorry. I had someone reach out to me and between filming for the TV show and everything else that's going on, I'm like, I am going to do you a disservice if I help you right now. So in 6 to 8 weeks, I am free and I'm back to the way I am normally. So, but my phone number is 480-717-2070.
Very cool, Laura. Thank you very much. Now,
Thank
topic
you.
number 3 is going to be first-time home buyers.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.